welcome to Catholic Truths. Today we'll be discussing hand-holding during Mass and the Orans posture. So one of the biggest criticisms that we hear from the Novus Ordo Mass is a lot of modernism creeping in, and one of the arguments for this is so many people love to hold hands during the Our Father. There's nothing actually inherently wrong with this, but I'm going to explain why I would personally discourage hand-holding during the Mass. So for my family and I, when we are standing up to pray the Our Father, what we typically do is we clasp our hands together like this, put them down in front of us, and we close our eyes and slightly lean our head forward, in reverent prayer. However, many of you know that so often you'll see everyone sitting there holding their hands up, clasping them together. I've been places to where they're even stretching across the aisles, reaching for. I've had my hands closed like this and all of a sudden had fingers doing this, trying to get me to hold hands. I even had one time someone reach down trying to pull my hand to hold it. And that's just rude. And if you're going to hold hands, that's fine. That can't really be stopped. But don't force it on someone else when they're clearly not trying to do it. Now, to go along with hand holding, I'm also going to discuss the Orans posture. When we see the priest praying and he stands up and he holds his hands out like this, a little bit more out probably, this is referred to as the Orans posture. This is a priestly position that only the priest is allowed to do during the Mass. This is in the rubrics for both Latin Mass and for the Novus Ordo Mass. Laity is not allowed to do that, but yet we see so many people doing this. Now, I'm going to read to you what the rubrics say right here. Liturgical actions must always clearly manifest the unity of the people of God as a structured communion. Thus, there exists a close link between the ordered exercises of liturgical action and the reflection in the liturgy of the Church's structured nature. This happens when all participants, with faith and devotion, discharge those roles proper to them. To promote the proper identity of various roles in this area, those abuses which are contrary to the provisions of Canon 907 are to be eradicated. In Eucharistic celebrations, deacons and non-ordained members of the faithful may not pronounce prayers, ergo, especially the Eucharistic prayer, with its concluding doxology, or any other parts of the liturgy reserved to the celebrant priests. Neither may deacons nor non-ordained members of the faithful use gestures or actions which are proper to the same priest celebrant. It is a grave abuse for any member and the non-ordained faithful to quasi-preside at the Mass while leaving only the minimal participation to the priest, which is necessary to secure fidelity. This flat out says that no one in the Mass except for the priest, and that's the residing priest, the one performing the Mass, should be the one doing the Orans posture. But yet we see so many people doing it. I'm not saying to, when you see people doing that, to start shooing them and say, don't do that, don't do that. I'm not telling you to do that, but this would be an educational moment, especially for priests, to go one-on-one with parishioners he sees doing this and talking about it and getting it to stop. Now, why do I discourage the hand-holding? Because, first of all, again, there's nothing inherently wrong with it, because when you hold hands, you're just doing this. But when we get to the doxology after the Our Father, what happens? You start seeing people doing this. It's a quasi-Orans posture, and sometimes you'll just see people flat out doing this. Again, to me, holding hands during the Our Father, in the end, ends up encouraging the Orans posture, which is blatantly said to be an abuse. Again, oftentimes you also say, people saying, with your spirit, stuff like that. They shouldn't be doing this at all, ever. It's an abuse, and the problem with a lot of things in the church today is there's just these little bitty supposed abuses that happen, and people always ignore them, saying, it's just one little thing, we'll let it slide. But what happens when you get 20 little things that are sliding, and then 30 and 40 and 50, and before long you go to a Mass that you don't even recognize, because people are, in one instance that I actually saw someone taking the host in their hands, which that is allowed, walking away from the priest and getting halfway back to their pew and literally going and popping it in their mouth. The best thing to do is try to avoid any abuses, and it seems that the hand-holding definitely encourages the Orans posture, and personally, I would not encourage holding hands. This brings us to the end of our video. If you have any questions regarding hand-holding or the Orans posture, feel free to ask in the comments below, give any suggestions or criticisms that you can think of as well. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Catholic Truths. We're starting a new weekly schedule. So Sunday, I'll be posting our Catholic Truth videos. On Monday, I'm going to be doing a live stream on YouTube and through Amino for the voice chat that will allow us to sit here and discuss the video that I just posted the day before, and it'll allow anyone to, during the live stream to directly ask me questions or just discuss what's going on. So we'll be doing that tomorrow night about what we just did today. For those of you that want to know, Wednesday, I'm going to be starting to do my live stream for the Catholic Geek, which is a new part of my channel. And for those of you following Amino, Friday and Saturday are going to be where we do the voice chats. I haven't figured out exactly how we're scheduling that yet this week, because one time it's going to be during or on the Genesis Amino, and that's going to be our Ask a Catholic session. And then in the Catholics Amino, we're going to be doing catechesis type of stuff. But I encourage you to, keep with us, and thank you for all your support. Again, thank you for watching. Ask that you would like the video and subscribe so you can keep up with when we post new stuff. Ask you to follow us on Twitter and maybe even come and visit our Amino. All the links required for all this are in the description below. Thank you, and God bless.